Please welcome your MC for Ability Summit, Caruana Gatimu.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ability Summit 2026. I am so happy to be with all of you in person. This is the first time we've got to be in person since 2020 in 6 years. So yay, we're getting to be here together, right? But we don't want to forget about our digital audience. Thanks to all of you for joining us from wherever you may be in the world today. This is truly an inclusive event with having folks here and online together. So some of you may not know that in my day job, I used to work in Teams engineering, and my team was one of the groups who assisted in taking all of the events online in 2020. And Ability Summit was one of the first to become a fully hybrid event. That was a bit stressful at the time. So I've had a long history with this event, but that's not actually why I'm here or why I care about accessibility and inclusion. In 2018, my mom lost 80% of her vision to macular degeneration. And as I worked to support her, I became familiar with screen readers and all of the accessibility capabilities across our suite of products. And I was amazed at the ability for our company to really help her get back what she had always loved, which was her love of reading and of information. My mom was one of those people, when I was growing up, there was always a stack of books around her chair, and so I get my love of learning directly from her. So at that time, I began to understand how we are really a leader in this space, and it's because of all of you, and it's because of the work that's done all across our company. So thank you for having this be so important in what you do every day. I appreciate you so much. Now, let's take a look at someone who has led in this space for many years. I want to share with you a highlight video of Jenny's leadership at Ability Summit over the year. Let's take a look.
3 years from now, we should be doing things that we can't even imagine today.
Game on. Yeah, game on. We started off with 20 folks in a room, and here we are today with 20,000 attendees from 168 countries ready to dig into the future of accessible AI.
The work we do as a company when it comes to accessibility speaks most directly to our mission.
Disability is a strength. We have gotten a lot better, but it's still not good enough.
The journey does not stop here. The journey is a forever moving beast.
We know that people will come where they are invited, but they stay where they are welcomed.
There is a paradigm shift that's happening. I am genuinely excited about this chapter of AI and accessibility.
Please welcome to the stage, Jenny Lay-Flurry.
Good morning. How are we doing? All right, I'm deaf. You're going to have to try harder. How are we doing? I am so excited to be here. This is our 16th Ability Summit. I started when I was 12. It is really humbling to be back on this stage. Give me a bit of a sign. How many of you is this your first? All right, there's a good smattering of hands in the room. I love that. How about 5th? Or less? How about 16th? 3 of us. The reality is that this started with very, very small beginnings. And because of the real partnerships, the energy, the determination of individuals in this room, it has led to some incredible moments. And it started in this very building. It started with a gang of 20 people from our employee resource group getting together to share lived experience, to see how we could figure out how to make technology better for everyone. Today, we welcome a global audience. I met some amazing people in the corridor earlier that are here from the UK, that are here from the Netherlands, that are here from remote parts of the world. I love it. And we are here again to build the future of accessibility. We absolutely love that you're here. And I have to just say, I love that over the years, we have created a family with our crew and partners that make it all happen. They really are family to us. But it's about what you do today that really matters. And that's what I want to talk about. Because Ability Summit is about empowering with technology, listening into action, and generating innovation for the globe. If I think about where we have gone in time, we have created some really powerful advances. It started with hardware. We are a nerdy, gorgeous company, and it started with building technology like the adaptive controller in Xbox and the inclusive tech lab, which is on its version 2 and has welcomed how many thousands? I think it's 6,000 visitors so far. Software that has now become as ubiquitous as spell check. And of course, AI. Seeing AI was actually our first AI app for Microsoft in 2017. I saw Saqib in the room earlier. It's now powering devices in everyday experiences. And I have to say that as we think about AI, we have to lean into the opportunities that it presents. For me, it's had a meaningful impact on my life. I started in 2005 in London to work on a little product called Hotmail. Anyone still have a Hotmail? I have to ask the question. All right, that's a few of you. As a deaf individual, deceptively deaf, I had to request captioning with a 48-hour notice period. Every time my meeting changed, I had to change that human block. Now, I turn on captions in every meeting. In fact, a lot of you do. I put transcripts on, I have sign detection, and I get meeting notes at the end. It is technology that is powering me to be an independent, deaf, disabled female leader. And that means a lot. It means that I get to schedule my daughter's college visits and doctor's appointments. She should be scheduling her own. But it also led to really understanding the power of how accessibility can become endemic. Over the last 16 years through Ability, and through the last decades, 30 plus, of building accessibility into our core infrastructure here at Microsoft, we have created something special. We're not done, far from it. None of these features happened overnight. Nothing that this team and the many individuals in this room, no matter whether you work for Microsoft, you work in a nonprofit, an advocacy policy, or another company, your work, I know, is not easy. But what you do is so important. And by doing it thoughtfully, you are building a foundation that can actually scale to companies as large as this one. 238,000 employees, a little bit different to 2005. I think we had 46,000 people then. Systems thinking, principles, governance frameworks, I'll say that again, not government, governance frameworks, and partnerships that enable new, innovative ideas to take hold. As a very dear friend of mine says in New Orleans, accessibility, I'm paraphrasing maybe a little bit, accessibility is not easy, but it is awesome. Did I say that right? Awesome. I do not have a New Orleans accent for those in the room. That was a terrible attempt at it. I'll say y'all next just to keep you grounded. But what does that mean? Well, a few months ago, I had the incredible privilege of stepping into a new role. It's a broader role focused on trusted technology. I'm not the first in this role, I am the second, but we have a lot to do. It is about building trusted tech in an era of AI with a focus on building AI responsibly, safely, with privacy in mind. Technology that empowers society, including local journalists, some of whom were actually here in Washington in our campus yesterday. Resilience, managing risk thoughtfully, carefully, and of course, accessibility. It is a challenge, folks. I don't know that I've slept much in the last 90 days, in a good way, because my brain is hurting. And I love that. I love learning. But what I have is the foundation that we built in this room. And I need you to keep going and go fast, because we are at pace, we are at speed. Technology is evolving very quickly. We have over 6,000 products here and models that are launching every day, not just Microsoft models, but of course, those across hyperscalers that are coming out every hour of every day. Our job is to make sure that they are grounded, to extend the benefits that I personally take advantage of, and as we all do, and mitigate those harms. So how do we do that? We do it by learning and leaning on everything that you live and breathe, focusing on those principles that start with empowering every person and move mechanically into how we build and how we operate. Governance with guardrails that work at speed and scale, and listen always to the feedback that you have. And accelerating with skilling and partnerships to create AI literacy. This framework becomes essential as we think about how do we scale to this time and this moment to make sure that we continue to unlock something that I know is core to me and core to all of you, the opportunity for disabled people around the world. I want to give you one quick example of how this comes together. Very material. And it all started, as many things do, with a text message from an incredible leader, a lady called Sinead Burke. Sinead Burke is the CEO of Tilting the Lens, based in Dublin. Some of you may have seen her, for those on the social media realm, on the Met Gala carpet recently, changing how the Met Gala works. More inclusive for people with disabilities. That's one hell of a staircase, by the way. She had a big problem to solve, and she did it. She sent me a picture a couple of years ago of an AI image-generated picture of herself as a CEO, working, taking a Zoom call, partnering with her team. The image, as a little person, wearing a fashionable leather jacket, let's just say it was shockingly bad. And it caused us to pause. It was crucial feedback at a crucial time. We realized that really in the nerdy language, the defect rate was bad. The image generation was coming from libraries that had been garnered from websites around the world and language libraries that just didn't represent little people. It didn't represent many other aspects. It was not responsible AI. It did not have the right principles, governance around it. So we had to fix it. Now, the solution won't surprise many of you. It came from partnership. Partnering with Be My Eyes, Kilimanjaro, Blind Trust, Tilting the Lens, Little People of America, to not just explore the gaps, but fix them. And we did by putting their images that are authentic and representative into our models. The results, as you'll see, are powerful. That image on the left was the image that Sinead created just this year. This is a powerful example and one of many as we go forward, and you're going to hear so many today. I'm kind of excited. You're going to hear this around voice, speech, image generation, video. As we extend the benefits of AI, how we do it, it really, really matters. But at the core, it comes back to how we are committed and continue to be committed to accessibility. As I move into this role, we of course needed to replace our CEO. Our CAO, not CEO. We have a good one. Sorry, Neil, I'm not promoting you that far. Satya has been an incredible advocate for this space from day one. But no, a CAO, a Chief Accessibility Officer, and my goodness, did we go through an extended process. He really put himself into this, and I'm so thrilled that Neil, we were able to announce him as the new Chief Accessibility Officer just a few weeks ago. So I leave you with a couple of words of wisdom. Keep building your foundations. Keep building your guardrails, your governance, and your principles. Keep telling us what is working and what is not. Find people in this room and online that you can innovate and partner with, because you can create an incredible new feature, a new future for people with disabilities around the world. And I leave you with a leader that is going to help you to do that. I have worked with Neil Barnett for over 2 decades. I have many pictures, many of which were not appropriate to put on this page. He is an M&M addict, an innovator, a partner, a thought leader, an operationalist, and a systems thinker. He has what we need to take us forward. And I could not be more thrilled for you to hear about his vision as we take the next chapter of accessibility forward. Let me welcome Neil Barnett.
Long way, Jenny. Give it up for Jenny. Thank you, Jenny, for everything. Always bringing your A game. So, good morning, everyone. It is a real privilege to be here. Been enrolled for about 6 weeks. It's amazing to see all these people, amazing people in the room and online. I never thought I'd be up here. Last time we were here, it was 6 years ago. We were in person, and I was a parking attendant. I was outside. I was voluntold to park cars. And now, let me tell you, inside, right up here, way better. I wasn't really always parking cars. I've been at Microsoft for about 20 years, and I've been lucky enough, obviously, to work with Jenny and the accessibility team at Microsoft, and really been driven by the goal to make accessibility easier. In 2015, I met Katie, a job seeker in our first autism hiring program. She was getting interviews at other companies, but not job offers. She asked me a simple question. She said, Neil, how can I improve if no one ever gives me feedback? I was like, man, it's a great question. It really made it clear to me that the issue wasn't the talent, it was our system. We realized many qualified autistic candidates might get screened out for not for lack of skill, but for the way we designed the interview process, and it wasn't designed for them in mind. So we chose to redesign the front door, same pay, same benefits, same job expectations, but a process built to remove barriers and help candidates showcase their skills and strengths. Because of Katie's input, we introduced practice interviews and feedback loops. And the results? We had teams like Azure, Gaming, and Office keep coming back to our events looking for this talent. And candidates began having incredible careers that wouldn't have been accessible before. The work reinforced the principle, when we listen and build with the community, we create better systems for everyone. Speaking of building community, last week I was in DC, and I had the privilege of meeting with about a dozen disability advocacy groups. 3 themes stood out to me talking across all these different organizations. The first, the need to build trust. Jenny hit on trust. The need to build trust with the disability community on this AI journey that we're all on. The second, a big desire to partner and shape those accessibility solutions in the future. And finally, which we're going to talk about all day today, skills, skills, skills. What is ahead? How do I skill? These insights reinforce why we're all here today at the summit and how we must move forward together. So let's talk about the moment we're in. As you heard, the pace of innovation is increasing rapidly. We're shipping products in weeks, not months, not years. At the same time, too many people are still navigating systems that weren't built for them. That reality hasn't changed. Inaccessible websites, transportation, everyday systems that don't work for everybody. This is our opportunity to do better. Accessibility must be part of that AI foundation to create a better experience for everyone. Today's assistive technology isn't niche. We don't zoom in on the devices or use dark mode. everyone uses captioning or speech to text. Many of us do. And in 2003, we partnered with Forrester to understand how many people use AT. At that time, it was 57%. Fast forward to today, and we learned that it was 70% of consumers now consider AT essential to do their work. Since then, we've continued to work with Forrester, and I'm excited to announce today that all this research is available to you in all these different markets for you to understand. So how do we move fast and get it right? At Microsoft, we have 3 principles: accountability, innovation, and partnership. They guide how we build and how we will measure our progress. So let's talk about accountability. Accountability at Microsoft is a shared responsibility. It is not optional. It's not owned by a single team. It all starts with customer zero, Microsoft. All 200,000 plus employees of R have to take required accessibility and disability training to build that shared understanding of responsibility across the company. For the 6,000 products that Jenny mentioned, compliance is the floor and not the ceiling. And let's talk about AI tools. These are ways we can make work easier for everyone. The Accessibility Assistant in Office, super easy to create accessible content. For developers in the room, tools like GitHub Accessibility Scanner are embedded into the workflow. They flag, file, and fix issues for you right there in your workflow. And I'm excited to have Ed Summers talk about this in a little bit from GitHub. And finally, feedback. I want to call it the Disability Answer Desk. Affectionately, I call it DAD. I've had the privilege to lead the DAD team for the past decade. And the DAD team is the direct line to customers with disabilities, answering questions, resolving issues, turning support conversations into a pipeline for the engineering group of product improvements. We don't treat Disability Answer Desk as a helpline. We think about it as an accountability line. Every conversation tells us what products are working, where they're falling short, and where our engineering teams can lean in further. So now let's talk about innovation. Responsible AI is accessible AI. Designing technology with people with disabilities from the start. People with disabilities are innovators and first adopters, as you know. And in 2024, the Australia Post were the first to take the Copilot licenses to their disability ERG. The response from the team there was, you're not getting these licenses back. Nope. And because of that, because of the disability community at the Australia Post, they doubled down their investment in Copilot for the entire organization. Also in 2024, we highlighted a story about a man named Brian living with ALS. He was working with Team Gleason to rethink how people losing their ability to speak could access the latest technology to preserve a critical part of their identity, their voice. Today, we're excited to announce that Team Gleason, in partnership with Azure Foundry, is launching their voice preservation dashboard. This technology empowers people with ALS to bank their voices. So when they're using the technology to speak, it sounds like their natural language. Their voice is theirs. The decision about how it's used is theirs. That's what we mean by responsible innovation. And let's talk about partnerships. We cannot do this alone. When we come together, we learn faster and make more progress. Partnerships with organizations like Teach Access, Easter Seals, Special Olympics help turn shared commitments into reality. Organizations like the National Federation of the Blind are partnering with us to deliver Copilot training, including accessible audio formats. In New York City, we recently delivered training on creating accessible content to more than 400,000 city employees. With the American Council of the Blind, we're bringing blind and low vision users directly into the development process for real-time feedback on Narrator and M365 apps. We're working with the intellectual developmental disability community to create AI training for job coaches and the intellectual disability community themselves, which will also launch this October. Finally, when we share our best practices, we all go faster. At last year's Ability Summit, we made accessible packaging guidelines public for the first time. Our packaging studio spent years designing with the disability community. The result is a practical design guide that benefits all customers and the environment. But let's not just talk about it. Let's watch this video.
A device experience can be the most accessible, wonderful thing in the world, but if you can't get it out of the box, then it doesn't matter.
That first time that somebody opens a box and feels like somebody was paying attention to me, or somebody was thinking about my situation or my abilities, that's where we lay the foundation for all the work that we do.
We started thinking about a year and a half ago about the journey we had been on and all the insights and learnings that we had accrued. We just decided to open source what we had learned, put it together in a guide, and just put it out there to see whether or not it would be helpful.
Expanding that community was just a very exciting proposition.
We couldn't have imagined the response that we got.
Oh my gosh. The minute I got it, I was like, whoa, what? This is a great document.
The word spread pretty quickly to the Google team after it was announced. I think we instantly knew that their team had tapped into something incredibly useful.
They really brought a conversation that a lot of us were having, I think, internally amongst ourselves, out into the public, invited everyone to join into that conversation. And it's been a great conversation.
It's great to see brands that we don't normally work together come together, share that knowledge, right, to solve real problems. I think it's the right thing to do.
It's rewarding to know that a small change, like adding a pull tab or a tactile signifier, can turn a moment of potential frustration into one of independence.
This isn't about a design guide, a packaging design guide. To me, it was a powerful signal.
It signals that accessibility is becoming a design standard and not a niche concern.
This accessibility guide from Microsoft is going out to all our faculty. This is going to be one of the things we're going to do for this term. Let's focus in on this. I mean, they're going to be designing the future here. And that's what I get excited about. I love it.
We're all growing into accessibility, just as we age. That's a powerful statement. We're all growing into accessibility.
People with disabilities are not only the world's largest minority, but also the fastest growing population.
There's over 60 million adults and children that are living with arthritis today.
Growing up with psoriatic arthritis, I just found that so many makeup products were too difficult to use. Even the simple tasks felt really frustrating. I wanted to create a brand where products were easy to use, wider shapes and softer materials that offer more control during application.
When you find a brand that is meeting your needs, that really speaks to an individual.
You know, I look at some of the stuff like the Coca-Cola has done, and I really want one of their opener tools. Because I hate opening sodas against my body because they spill on me. So if I can do it this way instead, that's a huge deal for me.
We are engaging with our customers, the ease machine, and what it does, it asks consumers to open these bottles. And then the machine measures how much effort you need to open it. And the machine then basically collects all this data and helps the R&D team to see what can be done about that.
If you imagine a bell curve of any metric of ability and you target the center, the average, you're designing out inclusion. But if you design for the edges, for those who are often overlooked, you get the middle for free.
The best work is work that comes with that purpose of feeling like maybe we're making a difference in people's lives. What we're celebrating a year on is that we're seeing freer flow of an exchange of ideas.
There's an evolution that's happened in design thinking.
This renewed sense of purpose, this collective sense of momentum.
Design in such a way where it still is aesthetically beautiful, but yet functions at the highest possible level.
My overall hope is that accessibility becomes a standard and not a trend.
I don't think accessibility and inclusive design is a trend. I think inclusive design is good design is beautiful design. And more folks are coming around to share that belief, and that's great.
it really hits home that the work that we do every day impacts so many people. So take the guide, download it, share it within your organization. We can't do it by ourselves.
We cannot do this alone. I love seeing other companies across the tech industry and beyond come together in this space. I want to leave with 3 thoughts and 3 actions. The first, skilling, skilling, skilling. Take our Accessibility 101 training, try out the Skills Navigator, tons of content online, all available and free. Skill up. 2, connect with us. Accessibility at Microsoft is not one team. It's not one person. It's the thousands of talented individuals who are focused on accessibility every day. You have a wealth of accessibility knowledge all around you. Take the time while you're here to connect with others. That's what Ability Summit is all about. And finally, 3, share your feedback. Feedback is a gift. Jenny tells me that all the time. It's something that Katie taught me back in 2015 and something that sticks with me today. We should always be curious how we can do better, and you all have the insight how we can do that. Thank you. Enjoy the summit.
Thank you. Thank you, Neil and Jenny. That was fantastic. You people didn't tell me you were going to make me cry while I was here. My makeup was not ready for that. You know, the thing that's important to also remember that I am just struck by while listening to these fantastic leaders and seeing all of you is the distribution of the innovation that comes from this community and comes from the work that's being done so broadly. Never underestimate your power in sharing your lived experience. And in the world today, I think that's really important that we bring our humanity to this work that we're doing. It's so fantastic. We just learned more about what makes AI possible. Now, let's move to make it real. This next conversation brings together Blair Casey, CEO of the Team Gleason Foundation, Tara Rudnicki, President of North America at Tobii Dynavox, and Mary Ballard, Technical Advisor at Microsoft. And they're going to share more about the future of assisted communication with AI. Technology, partnership, and purpose come together to move faster and go further. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage. Come on down.
Thank you. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here, flying from Massachusetts and New Orleans to hang out with us here in Redmond. As Neil mentioned, the opportunity for responsible AI is enormous, and the role of partnership in that is absolutely critical. We know AI is moving fast. Did you get the memo? Have you heard it enough times? It's moving really fast. We're on the same page? Good. Policy around AI, also moving really fast. So let's start with AI. How, in the world of communication technologies and the products that your organizations work with, build, co-create with disability communities, how is communication technology being impacted by AI today? Blair, we're going to start with you.
It's changed quite a bit over time. I remember when my good friend Steve Gleason was diagnosed with ALS in 2011, there weren't many options. There weren't many choices. And when he founded Team Gleason, he did it with the mindset and mission to provide an advanced access to the tools that give people the ability to be independent, right? To be mobile, to communicate, to look and pursue purpose like we all do in life. But to do that, it really requires a team. And we have a very strong team at Team Gleason, but we can't do it alone. And you're probably wondering why I'm here, because we are the people in the sense that the engineers, the people in this room, Microsoft, it's a combination of community, right, advocacy, industry, and then the durable medical equipment field. Why is that important? It's because this is the only way that we scale access, that we actually are able to provide more options. And without collaboration, innovation is impossible and access is impossible as well.
And at Tobii Dynavox, how is AI coming into play?
Well, let me tell you, at Tobii Dynavox, one of the big things that we believe is people with communication impairments have the right to do what they once could or never thought possible. So I have to go back a little bit when I meeting both Mary and Steve Gleason 15 years ago when Steve was diagnosed with ALS. Right. I remember being in the room with my partners, and one of the things if Steve could not just be plugged into a wall to be able to communicate, but the second thing was we were so excited that he could put 3 words together in a minute. And now what AI brings is not just, I could sit and talk about speed, I could talk about all the interesting things it does, but I'm going to tell you what is most important to us. It's engagement, it's being in the minute. And now people can participate, people can be in that conversation. One of the best compliments of AI was when a dad came to me with a child with cerebral palsy and said, "Oh my God, my daughter has a sense of humor." He would have never known that. She was lifetime doing jokes and being responsive and being in that conversation. That's what all these years as an assistive technology company, been in it for 25 years. I was 2 when Jenny was 3, in developing, and it's changed so much. We did hardware, software, we got the foundation. Now is where we get the excitement to be able to do it and bring it better.
And we know that just like with all great things, none of this happened overnight, right? Years and years of iterating and trying to make it better and staying committed to what the user experience is. And I think there's more to share today. So Blair, what's new?
A lot, obviously, this whole thing AI, but looking at the impact, Team Gleason is now receiving over 850 requests a month, and that is for the technology and equipment, as I mentioned, to keep people mobile and independent. But today, we're really excited to announce our voice preservation dashboard. Neil mentioned it. What is the voice preservation dashboard? It is a singular interface that allows somebody with ALS, in our case, to go bank their voice. And the really neat part about this is, we're putting the ownership in the community's hands. So in this example, the phrases will be stored in OneDrive, right? So we're talking about privacy and security in mind. And then you look at what else is important, options, right? So having options on the back end. When you look at ease of access, usability, this has been a very difficult thing for people with ALS, and we are receiving and providing about 2,000 voices a year. And so without a tool like this, we couldn't actually support people in a customized way. And honestly, this is what the community has dictated they need. So the other really neat part about this is, we're releasing as one of the voices, Microsoft's custom voice. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a big deal, so everybody should be very proud. When I look at what custom voice is and what the dashboard is, I go back to how it all started. And Mary, you know very well, because you were a part of it. Back in and around 2021, there's a Microsoft employee, a good friend of mine by the name of Bernice Yu. She is living with ALS today. Her and one of our board members, Phil Green, who has since passed away last year, person living with ALS, they really articulated, as well as the larger, broader community through our programs, that this need is not just a domestic need, it's an international need. And we got together, we brought actually Microsoft, Google, Acapella, and the reason behind it wasn't about a tool for a company. It was about collaboration, innovation, community, and impact. And that's what separates, I think, what we do from everybody else is it requires a team. And you have to have all the moving parts, the components, but at the core of it is the community, right? And that's how and why we're excited about this new tool, this new advancement.
And there are, and were, and will continue to be a lot of moving parts. Aaron Gustafson in the room here today led an amazing effort to try and get custom voice available through the dashboard, giving people options. It really has been a collective effort. And Tobii Dynavox has been involved as well. How is the dashboard working with Tobii stuff?
Hey, Tara, if you don't mind, can I thank Aaron as well?
Sure, please do.
There's always room for gratitude. Go for it, Blair.
Look, I look at this journey, and at times, Mary, you'd say my crazy, but my crazy was the community's needs. And I'm here only because I have a group of people and a team that trust me to actually speak on their behalf. But it really requires a good team and a team that even when they have a lot going on and you're experiencing challenge and you don't know how you're going to get to the next phase of a product, a software. It's people like Aaron, Mary, yourself, that make this really possible. And so just know that when you hit these roadblocks, Aaron, you can now be the spokesperson. People have all experienced this. But why we're here, is, as I mentioned, is what the outcome needs to be. So I have to point out gratitude for yourself, Jenny, Neil, the entire Microsoft team, everybody today, Aaron, and everybody that came before.
Mm-hmm. Yes, a lot of people all working together. And where does the dashboard come into play in your world?
Well, I put up with this crazy for a lot of years.
True.
Thank you, Mary.
You're in good
Thank you,
company.
Aaron, for helping us. But one of the great things is actually I'm here to announce that Toby Dynavox and our partners with Acapella and our partners with Microsoft and Team Gleason will be offering custom Microsoft voices by the end of the fall. So we're really super excited because we can't do it by ourselves. We need to offer choice.
Choice also means we do need to offer it with any company. So the goal is, if I may.
Sure. You got the mic.
We want to see every voice provider, as an option. Why? Because people need options. And the cool part about what this tool is it's future-proofed, right? People own their own recordings means whatever comes out in a week, a month, a year, they have access to.
Mm-hmm. And it's a really important milestone, and we know that we've worked together long enough that you're never, ever done. So, Tara, what comes next? What do you want the room to know?
Ooh, lots. First and foremost is AI, making sure that we get it out there and it's responsible. All of our partnerships, all of our developers, everybody that does this takes it, our community, and make sure that we do it responsibly. But also part of it, as we said, this is the fun part for us. 25 years of foundation building. Now it's allowing people with communication disabilities to be themselves. However, we need to get lawmakers. We need to make sure they're not making barriers. We need to make sure that we get educators, healthcare providers, researchers, developers, all together to really take speech and individualization to the next level.
I agree. There's too many barriers that we see at this point. I'm just going to mention this crowd, and I'll talk about it probably a little bit more later. We are actually working to make sure a piece of legislation that is being proposed in the state of California by Senator Becker, Bill SB 1000, may limit access to some of these tools that people need and use on a daily basis. And that's not something we stand for, because the future, honestly, is these tools. How AI integrates is going to allow our friends, communities that need these tools to speak with tone, inflection, to be able to tell their children they love them in whatever way they want to tell them that, right? Whether that's on social media or that's in person with an a cappella voice, a custom voice from Microsoft, or any other voice. We are here, and we've got to make sure the tools and the great people that represent the tools are here to stay with us. That is what Steve set us out to do. That's who we are on the stage as partners. And that is no white flags.
Never given up. I can tell you, you have never given up. We're never going to give up. And I love that all of this is about not if technology can do something, but just a conversation about how do we do it responsibly, right? We have to do it with people. That's what makes it real. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. Keep making it real, and enjoy the rest of your summit.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. I love to see that passion and focus and dedication to the mission. That is wonderful. Definitely makes me feel inspired to do the same. And I want to remind folks out there who are watching us, we're streaming this live on LinkedIn. So share your stories, engage in the comments, be a part of this community that exists all around the world. We're out there, we see you, you're here with us in spirit. So make sure that you're having commentary and have that digital experience be fun. The work that Team Gleason and Toby do that reminds us of what this community does best. We come together to turn lived experience into innovation that completely changes what's possible. But we also know that technology alone, it's not enough. It never is. To truly deliver on that promise, we have to invest in people. Right? The people-first methodology is so important in skills, in access to opportunity. Because the future of AI and accessibility depends on who is building it. Ensuring that disabled people have tools, training, and pathways to thrive in this new economy is one of the most important things that we can do together. And that brings us to our deep focus on skilling at Ability Summit 2026 and our next segment. I'm so happy to introduce my new partner and friend. We're doing a ton of work together. And Kavita is the General Manager of Global Skilling and Product Leader. And she's going to bring her deep expertise in skilling and workforce transformation and inclusive growth to the stage. Her work is focused on creating pathways for more people, including disabled talent, to participate in and shape the AI economy. I can't wait to hear what she's going to share with all of you. Please join me and welcome Kavita to the stage.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here. And to all of you, the accessibility leaders, advocates, and change makers in the room, welcome. You are the reason this work matters. Thank you for being here. So let's talk about what's possible and what the opportunity is. 3.6 billion people in the global workforce, and AI is going to touch every one of those jobs. This is the biggest skilling opportunity of our lifetime. In 2025 alone, we helped train and certify 38 million people around the world on AI and digital skills. And we're just getting started. In order to double, triple, quadruple that number, you are the ones who are going to help make the 1.3 billion people around the world that are living today with a disability skill up on AI. So our vision is twofold. It's AI-led and human-enhanced. So what do I mean by AI-led? We want to use AI to skill people on AI. We want to bring learning experiences that were never possible before, personalized, multimodal, meeting people where they are. And we want to do that by driving role-based skilling that is free for everyone. We want to combine that with human-enhanced skilling. You know, the skills that matter the most as AI does more of the technical work and takes some of the drudgery away is really the human skills. Communication, collaboration, judgment, empathy, leadership. These are the skills that accessibility leaders like you have been championing for decades, and are now the skills the whole workforce needs. Both of these rest on two principles: respect the learner and meet people where they are. So I'm so excited to introduce you to our new launch of the AI Skills Navigator. Thank you. So the AI Skills Navigator is your agentic learning companion. It is free. Did I mention? It is free. And it is global. It is one place to discover, plan, and grow your AI skills with curated content from Microsoft Learn, LinkedIn Learning, and GitHub, all in one place. What it does is we've grouped together skilling playlists that are personalized AI-generated playlists. So you, as an organizational leader or a team leader or just someone on a team, can pull together a generated playlist based on the team needs that you have. So we have marketing leaders that are creating marketing playlists. We have finance leaders that are creating finance playlists. And these are specific to how AI could be used in those use cases, using AI to really power that learning experience. Skilling sessions, which are live-like training sessions, but you then have a personal coach by the side. Now, this coach is going to help you learn the content in a psychologically safe space. We're finding that many of our neurodiverse learners love this feature. They are able to ask questions that they typically wouldn't ask in a crowded room. And this is helping them learn on their terms at their speed. And the last one is AI-generated podcasts. We are now instantly generating podcasts using AI that you can listen to on the go. And these are just some of the features that we're bringing together so that our leaders can help really drive the next generation of AI skilling within your organizations. You know, what's important here is that all of these experiences were built accessible by design, not retrofitted, not after the fact, but from first principles. You know, this is a foundation and the framework that we built on to say, hey, we need to have skilling that meets people where they are and enables us to learn in an inclusive environment. 6 months in, and we've had some really strong traction. Tens of thousands of learners are going to the AI Skills Navigator.microsoft.com to really skill up on AI. We have people building playlists and sharing them out with their teams, and then tracking the progress of their teams and getting really excited about, hey, I was able to help my team go from 0 to 100 in a very, very short period of time. And people are telling us that this is replacing legacy training that never really worked for them. Now, numbers tell one story, but people tell a better one. And I want you to see and hear this directly from someone in our community. I'd love to invite Natalie Warden-Cowie, who is actually coincidentally part of our, joined Microsoft as part of our neurodiversity program here. Natalie, all yours.
Thanks, Kavitha. Thanks, Kavitha. When I first started using the AI Skills Navigator, what struck me was that even when I was registering, I was asked what my learning preferences were. I would love if more people asked that question. I'm the kind of learner that I like things to be visual and auditory. Kind of like when you watch a documentary, putting on the subtitles so that you can understand everything and let it all sink in. And so once I chose those learning preferences, the modules that were recommended to me aligned with my learning style. Let me show you one of them. In here, we see that the module includes text. Later on, we'll see some videos and images. We'll try that again. The team is working really hard to get some of this new content out for you guys, so awesome. So we'll see as we scroll down, we have video options, we have text and images, so many different ways to consume this information. But what excited me most was this little button up here to turn your module into a podcast. Let's see what happens.
The Copilot chat window glows, waiting for a clear instruction to land. Today, we'll talk about crafting clear instructions that help Copilot give better answers.
In moments, we see a new way to engage with the content in the module. And as someone like me who's visual and auditory, having the transcript to follow along supports how I learn the content. But if you're like me, sometimes all of this learning can be very distracting. And there's a lot of different ways, again, to ask questions and go down rabbit holes in different resources. So this is where skilling sessions come in. I can ask questions as I learn while a video is playing. And the agent on the side answers my questions in a psychologically safe space. This keeps me focused and enables me to complete the module in one sitting. Before AI Skills Navigator, the tools that I had, I needed to transform the way I learned in order to use them. Now the content is transformed to meet my needs. Back to you, Kavitha.
Thank you, Natalie. That was an amazing demo. And those were just some of the features that we talked about and showed you. We'd love for you to try this out on your own, and please give us some feedback. But while this was exciting, we're not done. You are the first to hear that we will be launching a learning agent within Copilot in the next 2 weeks at Build as a private preview. Now, this agent brings the learning right into Copilot, where your users are and where you all are. And what we're looking at is bringing in the same magic you just saw from AI Skills Navigator right within Copilot. In addition, we're going to use the M365 graph. So we have your skills inferences, your task inferences. We know who you are, what you need, and we're able to use that to bring the content in right where you need it. So very, very excited on getting this out at Build. And then we're planning to launch this in the next few weeks as a GA launch and a generally available launch. So really excited about the learning agent. But we're not done. We have one more announcement. AI Skills Fest is our week-long AI practical skill event, which we are launching between June 8th to 12th. The good news is registration literally just opened this morning. So all of you can register for it. As I mentioned again, it's free. And we hope that you and your learners will all come in to learn more about AI through the Skills Fest. Now, the Skills Fest is bringing together curated playlists across the board, sweepstakes. We also have the ability for you folks to qualify for free certifications and hackathons. So it's a chock full of events that are happening within that week. So really excited. You can register using that QR code, or you could go to aiskillsnavigator.microsoft.com and register for the Skills Fest there. So I just wanted to encourage all of you to both start your AI journey. You will be able to try the AI Skills Navigator on the show floor. You can try it right away. You can sign up on your phones. And if you have any questions or feedback, please let us know. You know, the opportunity is real. The work is human. And the leaders to do it are already in this room. Thank you again for your time today.
Didn't I tell you that was going to be exciting? They're doing such fantastic work with the Skills Navigator and ensuring that we can all build the skills that we need to participate in this new economic force that AI has become. So now we're going to move into another panel, and I'm very excited about this panel. These folks are going to share their lived experience and how their lived experience continues to create deliverable and measurable results and innovation. They're also really interesting people. I've had the pleasure of listening to them practice their panel and see their demonstrations. So first, we're going to kick off with a video to give you a little bit of insight into the capabilities that are coming for everyone. So with that, I think we'll kick over to the video, and then Clint Covington will lead the panel of fantastic folks that will be sharing with you next. Let's roll that video.
Narrator has come a long way. Built with community feedback, it's now a powerful, reliable screen reader in Windows. Everyday tasks, from setting up a new PC to browsing and completing forms, are faster and more dependable. With scan mode and improved shortcuts, move quickly through web pages and documents, navigating headings, links, and tables with ease. Across Microsoft 365, Narrator supports real work and productivity. In Word, reading and writing are seamless, with clear feedback, smooth navigation, intuitive spelling, and strong awareness of structure. Tables and multi-level lists clearly convey hierarchy. Reviewing is faster, with simple commands for comments. In Outlook and Teams, reading, composing, and editing emails and messages are streamlined, keeping communication clear and focused. In PowerPoint, Narrator makes creating and reading slides easier, with clearer navigation and improved announcements of slide content and objects, across both editing and presentation views. Narrator is also becoming more intelligent. With Copilot-powered descriptions, it can describe images and graphs, summarize screen content, and answer follow-up questions, making visual information more accessible. Natural-sounding HD voices make extended reading more comfortable, while personalization gives you control over what is announced and when. For Braille users, plug-and-play HID support makes connecting Braille displays simple, with no complex setup required. Utilities like Screen Curtain, Speech Off, and Speech and Braille viewers support privacy, flexibility, and teaching. And behind it all, stronger fundamentals with improved performance and over 150 bug fixes. Narrator today is faster, smarter, and built for productivity. If you haven't tried Narrator in a while, now is the time.
Good morning. I'm really excited about the progress we've made in Narrator. It's great to see that come together. I'm Clint Covington. I've been at Microsoft for 28 years. Nearly half of that time, I have led the accessibility efforts for our productivity experiences in M365 apps and Windows. For me, this is more than a job. I have people in my life who I love who have disabilities. This work is deeply personal to me, and I'm driven to make a difference in the community. I also firmly believe that when we build accessible software, we make software better for everybody. The innovations we'll feature today will reduce cognitive load, save time, improve people's lives in a measurable way. As my friend Dave says, there's a high return on effort for the things we're doing here. We can only do this with feedback from the community. Your voices, your leadership, they don't just inform our work, they shape it. So, thank you. Let's first start off with teams. Chris, you lead the hard of hearing effort there. Can you tell me more about your role?
Hi, I'm Chris Sano. I'm an accessibility architect in the Microsoft Teams organization.
Chris, I'd love to talk to you about tethering. I remember one of the first meetings we were on. You were talking, I was hearing, and another voice was lighting up that I didn't recognize. It was an external company. I was confused why this person was asking those types of questions. What was going on there?
Yeah, I remember that. Because my video was not being elevated, there was no active speaker border around it. The only person you could see and hear was my interpreter. And to make things worse, the captions and transcript attributed everything to the interpreter instead of me. It was like I wasn't even in the meeting.
So from the system's perspective, the interpreter was effectively becoming you.
That's a good way to frame it. It's a huge disconnect because in this case, the person participating in the conversation and the person who was producing the audio was not the same. Voice tethering fixes that by linking the interpreter's spoken audio back to the signer. I have a video that shows what that looks like. We'll show 2 signing participants in a Teams meeting with sign language interpreters, Toby and me. Let's go ahead and play the video.
It's called voice tethering. So a deaf person can pair with their sign language interpreter, and then Teams makes sure that they have appropriate attributions in transcript and captions. Toby, what do you think of it?
I think it's fantastic. We've been working on this for a long time. It's really nice to see it in the build. And now folks can use it. I'm excited to see what the community has to say about this.
Me too. I'm excited to see how this changes the experience for deaf and hard of hearing people using Teams. And then you think about the downstream impact on the meeting intelligence. It's great to be able to see your name in all the meeting notes, Copilot, all of those downstream artifacts. Very exciting.
Exactly. The future is bright.
What the video showed is that even though the interpreter is speaking, Teams now maintains focus and attribution on the signer. And now that carries through the entire meeting lifecycle. Facilitator, meeting recap, Copilot, all of it.
It really makes a huge difference. That little blue box to give attribution.
It really is. Yeah, most people never experience this kind of friction because meetings are already designed around how they communicate. I love how we're impacting how signers and those they work with experience meetings. It's a simple concept that is really powerful.
Yeah, Chris, I love how we're creating a more coherent experience for the sign language community, and then everyone who participates in that meeting, post-meeting content review experience. So thank you, Chris, and thank you, the Teams team, for the work that they're doing here. Let's talk about screen readers. Nidhi, who flew in from India to join this conversation, she's the principal program manager, product manager for Narrator. Nidhi, what have you been up to?
Thank you, Clint. Our goal with Narrator is to make it the trustworthy screen reader that you could trust out of the box in Windows. I am a screen reader user myself, and I know the difference between good enough and what truly reliable really means. And we've used that understanding to shape how we have approached Narrator last year. Teams across Windows and M365 have obsessed over ensuring that end-to-end tasks work seamlessly. In the video, you saw this come across 3 strong areas. 1, strong fundamentals. These are about faster performance, smoother navigation, basically the foundations that help you build anything on top of. Second, real-world productivity. You saw in apps like Word, Outlook, and the web, reading, writing, and reviewing is seamless. And third, transforming experiences using AI. Copilot now helps describe screens, images, and answers follow-up questions. And personalization allows you to personalize what narrator speaks, when, and how. We are truly excited about the progress. If you have not tried Narrator in a while, now might be a good time for all of you to try.
I love the progress we're making in Narrator. Not only does it make Narrator better, but the work we do builds a better screen reader experience for everybody. So love the work there. Can you talk a little bit more about how we're doing it and how we're engaging with the community to make progress here?
All the progress we are doing is with conversations with blind and low vision users. These are internal employees, external experts, and advisory councils. The community is involved right from the beginning, prioritizing problems, co-creating solutions, and validating what we have built. Let me share an example with you, Clint. Braille was not in our roadmap this year, and conversations with the community made it really clear that setup is not working. And so the team stretched, and I'm excited to announce that as of this week, HID support for Braille displays is rolling out to Windows Insiders program. These are the partnerships that these are deep partnerships with different organizations. It's the DAISY Consortium, the Blind Information Technology Solutions, and the National Federation of the Blind, who are not just advising us, but they're also helping build Narrator with us.
You know, Narrator supporting Braille is just such a huge step forward because it really is this pathway to literacy, and employment quickly types behind that. Jonathan, you are the Executive Director for Accessibility Excellence at the National Federation of the Blind. We're thrilled to have you with us today.
It's great to be here, Glenn.
Why does the NFB place such an importance on a built-in screen reader like Narrator?
Well, good morning, everyone, and good morning, fellow delegates. This is a critical civil rights issue for the National Federation of the Blind. When a computer is accessible out of the box, it levels the playing field. And if you think about it, if a computer isn't accessible out of the box, that's the equivalent of a non-blind person walking up to a computer and finding that the screen is blank. It's the same thing. A built-in screen reader sets the baseline for access. If Narrator is strong, a blind person can turn on a Windows computer and get productive immediately. And a strong Narrator gives us the best of both worlds because we have effective access right away, but we can still tap into third-party products for additional functionality if we need to.
So many people have strong opinions about Narrator.
Yeah.
Some of those might be based on what it used to be. Are you saying it's worth a fresher look here?
Well, one of the constants in technology is change, right? And people's perceptions of Narrator are based on an older reality in many cases because they haven't tried it for a while. The pace of improvement means that impressions from years ago are just no longer accurate. We've seen Narrator become quite viable, particularly in Microsoft's own applications, improvements in M365 apps, better performance, progress in Braille, and the addition of AI image descriptions really matter. For some users, especially those working primarily in Office or in a web browser, Narrator is now a viable primary screen reader, and that's a meaningful shift. As Neil mentioned earlier, we are also very pleased to announce that Microsoft and the National Federation of the Blind are working on a Copilot training course that helps blind people start to adopt Copilot. Now, this is a training course designed by blind users for blind users. We're super excited about that.
I'm thrilled to be working with the NFB on this project, and also just a huge shout out to the M365 teams that have been working closely with Nidhi and her team. And I'm excited about where Nidhi's going to take Narrator in the next year. So we're not done.
Absolutely.
Nidhi, this is a little bit outside of a screen reader, but we've also been making a lot of progress in math equations. Can you tell us a little bit more about the journey we've been on with math inside of M365?
Yeah, sure. A year ago, DAISY Consortium had reached out asking to collaborate with us to do improvements in math. We understand digital math is truly important for full participation of students to learn STEM education and careers, especially if they cannot rely on the traditional paper-based methods. Working with Daisy, we have improved a lot of important scenarios, adding autocorrect codes, improving announcements when navigating through equations, and improved support for LaTeX. One thing that I'm truly excited about is about copy-pasting MathML from Copilot or different websites which support MathML into a Word document. It holds the semantic equation intact without pasting it as a raw data.
This is really amazing. 4 months ago, it was not possible to paste MathML. Now, we see over 3.5 million people copy and pasting math from a website into Office, over close to 160 million equations every month. Yeah. Many of those would have been images or inaccessible before, so it's just a huge progress we're making there. Jonathan, from accessible equations, how does this create new career opportunities, especially for people in your community that are blind?
Yeah, congratulations to Microsoft on this, Clint. The National Federation of the Blind is passionate about seeing greater participation by blind people in STEM, where historically we've been underrepresented. So we operate a number of programs in this space. Robust technology is critical to making good change in this area. So we're really pleased to see Microsoft adding features that help blind people achieve their full potential in STEM.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Nidhi. Love the work we're doing in this area, and let's just keep going. Let's push on that. Dave, welcome to the group. First off, I want to congratulate you on you publishing your new book, Leading with Imperfect Feet.
Yeah, thank you, Clint. That was...
yeah, let's give it up for Dave.
Yeah. That was a bucket list item for me to do because being at my age, having to do the career that I did, the hassles I had to really overcome, I wanted to share how having a disability really helped me be the leader who I was.
I'm really excited about people learning more about Dave's journey. It's been a great friendship. I've loved the progress there. But let's talk about Copilot.
Yes.
And how Copilot has changed your experience here at Microsoft as a leader.
It has changed quite a bit. How many of you really enjoy typing? By show of hands, how many of you enjoy typing? That's what I thought, not very many. And now we can use voice to talk to our computer. How many of us watched sci-fi growing up? And you could see people just naturally talking to the computer. And that's what got me into computer science. So now we're at that era. We are living in the future. So I want to share with you how I use Copilot to really generate documents. Wait for it.
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and play the video. Yeah.
So in this video, I need to create I'm creating an executive document on how productive I am using Copilot and Work IQ. I'm dictating a prompt to be able to say what I want, explaining pulled data that I've been collecting over the last few months, and it knows the intent, it knows where I use that data, and it's going to magically give me a first draft. How many of us stared at a blank white page for a lot longer than they care to admit, right? A lot of us. Now we get a better starting point, and instead of having to, like traditional voice to text, we had to dictate every word. So we had to think about every paragraph and then say it. Now we can just naturally do a lot of back and forth with it, like we had a scribe right beside us. And it really gets the gist of what we want to create with a lot less effort, which is fabulous.
Yeah, you know, I'm just really thrilled about the progress we're making with agentic authoring, where AI is now taking part and really reducing some of that physical effort that we have to put into it. And for people like you, that's just a huge difference.
Well, even for more people than me, like it's a lot of physical effort for everybody, which is great. And just the cognitive load that you would spend dictating took a huge task. For a lot of us that have dictated a lot, we know that mental strain.
You know, so Dave, as I sit there and watch Copilot generating and creating content, I feel like I'm living in the future.
Yeah.
It just seems like such a new world from where we've been. I'm curious, where do you see the future going from here?
That's an awesome question. So I've been working with engineers and people from all over Microsoft to really start using AI at a higher level. Now, if you look at the screen, it looks like DOS, for any of you that remember that long ago, or for those of you that will admit remembering DOS that long ago. And what I'm going to do here is simply that document you see me create, now I have to present this to leadership. And we know executives speak two languages, PowerPoint and money. So what I'm going to do is just, through my voice, create a beautiful PowerPoint presentation. I dictate in the prompt, and I just ask it to create a very stellar PowerPoint presentation. And then I want an email prepped at an executive level, carrying all those same data we talked before. So as you can see, through my voice, I could create a beautiful PowerPoint. I'm a lot of things people have called me, but a graphic designer is not one of them. So now I can get beautiful PowerPoints, and then through this, it even creates an email. Like what Clint said earlier, I call this a return on effort. I'm able to do a number of prompts and have it orchestrate creating a document, creating a PowerPoint, and a wonderful email. And what people didn't see throughout my career, I always had to spend a lot of extra hours after work doing all of this. Now, I get to finish my work at a normal time, and I have the energy and focus to spend time with my wife and enjoy my life outside of work. And that's what the future is about. Thank you.
I like that the dog liked it too. No, what Dave just said was really profound. It's given him time for the other parts of his life that he wants to put more time and energy into. Yeah. And it's not making stuff up. It's building off work IQ. It's your knowledge. It's your work. It's the things you bring uniquely to the table. So thank you, everyone, for sharing your stories. Thank you for the community, for your feedback. Enjoy the summit.
That is fantastic. Thank you all so much for sharing your stories. We appreciate that. I think one of the most important things is calling out the invisible labor that many of us do to appear to be working alongside our peers. It takes a lot of effort. So I really appreciate that transparency and sharing that so we can all be more aware and cognizant and empathetic about that invisible labor. Now we're going to move on to somebody who I love following on TikTok. Yes, I'm a TikTok person. I also, yes, I will admit that I knew DOS rather well, which is kind of terrifying. And Ed Summers is going to join us now and talk about GitHub and accessibility and how AI and open source is really empowering people with disabilities and the GitHub features and upcoming announcements that are going to be happening at Build. So please welcome Ed Summers to the stage. We're excited to have him.
Thank you. All right, boy, sit, rest. He is so excited to be here. I am as well. GitHub is where the world builds software. Today, there are more than 180 million developers building on GitHub, and about every second, another developer joins the platform. Our mission is to accelerate human progress, and we do that through developer collaboration. While the mission of our accessibility program is to enable people with disabilities to enjoy all the benefits of that progress, and just as importantly, to contribute to the creation of it as developers, builders, and innovators. We've been investing in accessibility for about 5 years now. We've made great progress, and just this morning, we got a little bit of nice public recognition. Forbes announced their accessibility 200 list, and for the first time, GitHub is on it. Okay, and the people who made that possible is all of our colleagues at GitHub who include accessibility in their craft every single day. So if you would, please give them a big round of applause. This is Loki, and he can feel your energy. Can you hear him talking to you? We should have mic'd him. Okay, so I want to share 2 of the ways that GitHub is empowering people with disabilities globally. Okay, the first one is our AI-powered accessibility scanner. It's free, it's open source, and it's integrated right into GitHub in the ways that developers work. So how this works. First, you can use it to find accessibility barriers in your web applications, okay? And it does that using the AxeCore library, the open source AxeCore library from DQ Systems. And just recently, the team added an extensible plugins architecture that opens up all kinds of possibilities for interactive testing going forward. Okay, when it finds those accessibility barriers, it creates GitHub issues to track them, and the description of those issues is optimized for both humans and AI, which leads to the next part. By default, those issues are assigned to GitHub Copilot. And while you're working on something else, learning a new skill, or just taking a break, GitHub Copilot is creating a fix and proposing it to you for your human review. Okay, yeah, that's right, yeah. Clay Miller from our accessibility team prepared a short video that we'll run here that shows how this works in a little more detail. So let's roll the video.
This is GitHub's accessibility scanner. It finds potential accessibility gaps, files GitHub issues to track them, and assigns those issues to Copilot to be fixed. Let's run a scan. The workflow run logs show 6 potential accessibility gaps were found on our site. GitHub issues were filed for each one, and all issues were assigned to Copilot, which opened PRs to fix. This issue flags a color contrast issue in the time element. It explains why the element's color contrast is problematic in a way that both human readers and Copilot can leverage to create a fix. Since this issue was assigned to Copilot, Copilot opened a pull request with a fix. Let's review it. Copilot has edited a SAS file in our repo to change the color of date-time elements. To review how Copilot arrived at that value, we can open the task view. Copilot gives a summary, and if we scroll back, we'll note Copilot is actually run an ad hoc Python tool to verify the color it's chosen. But if we want Copilot to use a specific variable from our theme, we can @mention Copilot with instructions, or we can set instructions that apply to all pull requests by adding a .github Copilot instructions markdown file. And that's GitHub's accessibility scanner. Review the README file for more tips on setting up and running the scanner in your repos and on your sites.
Okay, so you can learn more. Thank you. You can learn more about the scanner at gh.io/a11yscanner. And if you're going to Microsoft Build, make sure you come by the exhibit hall to the accessibility booth where you can enjoy some interactive activities related to the scanner. Okay, this next session, it's personal. A few months ago, I was at the CSUN Assistive Technology Conference. And the day after the conference, I went to the airport, got on the plane, sat down in my seat, and there was a group of people who did not want to sit beside me because of Loki. And we have it on video. Let's roll the video.
This is not from.
There's something called the American Disabilities Act that allow us to have our service animal.
We have a service animal. We have a service animal. I mean, I'll be happy to sit with him.
Do you?
Yeah, I'd be happy to sit with him. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Are you sure, man?
You get to hang out with a dog.
That is an honor to sit over there.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jen. Can I sit with you?
Do you mind if I just slide over?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay. That was Jen Hamilton. She's a labor and delivery nurse. She's also a social media rock star, and as of last week, a New York Times best-selling author. What her video that went viral with 15 million views, the original video. What her video did not show is what happened after she sat down beside me. We talked for 5 hours straight. All the way home from LA back to Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. And she explained to me how she uses social media, specifically video content, to advocate for her patients and her patients' rights as a labor and delivery nurse. And then she challenged me to do the same for people with disabilities, disability rights, and accessibility. Well, challenge accepted. Now the problem is that video is a visual medium, and the tools of video production are just not designed with blind people in mind. So I turned to the GitHub Copilot command line interface. Thankfully, the GitHub Copilot CLI was designed from the very beginning with accessibility in mind. It's keyboard-first design, keyboard-first interaction. So, yay, no mouse, right? There's a special screen reader mode, so it works great with JAWS and NVDA and other screen readers. It supports responsive design, which is great for larger text or when you need to zoom. And there's built-in themes, including a dark theme, a light theme, and multiple options for color deficiencies. So using the GitHub Copilot CLI, over the last few months, mainly nights and weekends, I've built a tool set, a blind native video editing tool set that allows me to create videos that express my voice. So here's how this works. Now, this is still a work in progress, okay? But here's what I'm doing right now. I can understand the key moments in the raw footage that I record that I bring home, okay? I'm literally having a conversation with a GitHub Copilot skill about the video. I'll get an overview, and then I'll ask it for specifics at certain timestamps. Then I can cut out those key moments and arrange them into a narrative that captures the story that I want to tell. And then I can, of course, I can add voiceovers, I can make it look good for a mobile phone, and then I can burn in the captions, and I'm ready to post it on socials. Okay, so here's the key thing about this, though, and I have a challenge for you all. I want you to think about the barriers that have been historically held you back. And I challenge you to look at those barriers and question whether or not they are immutable. And then I invite you to get active with GitHub Copilot and tear those barriers down, because I think you can do it. Okay, I want to leave you with the very first video that I created and published 100% as a blind person. Yeah. Crossing the street is the most dangerous thing that Loki and I do together. His job is to stop at the down curbs, and my job is to decide when it's safe to cross the street. This is where Loki really shines. It's a crowded sidewalk with lots of obstacles. We're approaching a family ahead. Watch how he guides me around the family and avoids the open car door to the left. Now we're approaching dense pedestrian traffic that Loki must negotiate as we enter the subway station. Watch how he stops at the top of the stairs and waits for me to give the command to proceed. Just like down curbs, that's super important for our safety.
Yeah, right here. Right. Here. Up to it. And there's right, and then there's some stairs on the right.
Yeah.
Okay, stand down.
Down the stairs, yeah.
Hold. Steady hold. That's All right. So I recorded that video with a GoPro camera mounted on Loki's harness, and my goal was to give you just a taste of the magic, the freedom, the independence that Loki gives me as a blind person. Okay, folks, I think we have a renaissance coming, a renaissance of accomplishment for the disability community, thanks to tools like GitHub Copilot. I'll hope you join me on that journey. It's been so wonderful to be with you in person. Have a great conference.
Fantastic. Fantastic. There you go. Excellent. I am so impressed by the work, and I'm also really impressed by the time and effort that Ed puts into the videos that he puts online. Sharing the experience really brings it home. It goes back to that shared humanity that we all have that is so desperately in need of some time and attention from all of us. So I am excited about that. And I'm also excited about how AI will continue to use these tools to make this impact. Now we're going to turn to another incredibly fun panel. I'm thrilled. One of the great things about in-person events is you get to meet people that you've only met online, and I had an opportunity to meet Mandy, who is going to host this panel of fantastic people and share with us their insights. Has anyone heard of the Indiana Pacers, or maybe, just maybe, the Seattle Seahawks? Have you heard of them? The world champion Seattle Seahawks in the house. Where's my hat? I have the jacket. I didn't know. I should have brought them all. They're fantastic. But, we were just talking recently at another event that I was at that our products, development, innovation, AI, life, it's all a team sport. We have to do this together. So I'm thrilled to introduce them, and we're going to take a minute to learn more about the work that Microsoft is doing with those teams and OneCourt. So please come to the stage, our fantastic panel, and we can't wait to learn more from the video that we're going to have right now. Thanks.
Pacer Sports Entertainment is all about creating unforgettable fan experiences.
There was a significantly underserved segment that came to our events. There aren't very many arenas that account for the art of hearing. We teamed up with Microsoft to build a real-time speech-to-text solution. In a matter of weeks, we boosted accuracy from 91% to nearly 99%.
To be able to put on a show, to put on an experience for fans that's creating memories for them is one of my favorite things to do.
Good morning, everyone. I really could not be more excited or more honored to be with you than I am today at the Ability Summit. My name is Mandy Rutledge, and I lead our sports, media, and entertainment business here at Microsoft. Shout out to the Pacers and to the Indiana Fever. Carl was unfortunately on his way here today and unable to join us because of airline complications. We've all been there, but so grateful for the work that we do at that organization. What we'll talk about today is work that I find so deeply powerful, and it's the work that goes around inclusive fan engagement. And why I find it powerful is because when we talk about inclusive fan engagement, what we're really talking about is who gets to feel that sense of belonging and that sense of connection and that energy that sports creates for all of us. And what we're going to talk about isn't aspirational. It's actually happening today because of the great work that these great leaders are driving in our industry. So please join me in welcoming Peter Tomazawa from FIFA World Cup 26. Then we have Karen Wilkins-Mickey from the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, and we have Jared Mace.
That's worth it to clap out.
Thank you for joining us. Maybe we'll start with you, Peter. I think you've had a very interesting journey from witnessing the Paralympics in Rio to now bringing accessible tech into live sports. What did it take to move from a personal passion into the actual realization of that vision in arenas? What did you learn along the way?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I'm Peter Tomazawa. I don't work for FIFA. I work for a 501c3 that is charged with bringing in and maximizing the World Cup. We're hosting it in 20 6 days, 12 hours, and 17 minutes and 75 seconds, or 35 seconds, but who's counting? Yeah, it's upon us. And my journey into sports, I wasn't always into sports in terms of a profession. This is kind of my fourth pivot into a career. And we moved here to Seattle in 2015 for my son's soccer. He played for the Seattle Sounders Academy. We were living in Hawaii at the time. Didn't know a soul in Seattle. Went to go work in LA. I commuted every week for 2.5 years to LA to bid on the Olympic Games. And in that process, we won the Olympics for 2028. It's not because I'm so great. I'm more the Asian version of Forrest Gump. So take whatever I say with kind of like the Forrest Gump lens on it. But I was the only representative from our team that spent the entirety of the Rio Paralympic Games, and I was exposed to adaptive sport then, and I completely fell head over heels in love with adaptive sports. To me, that is more inspiring for the world to see than the Olympic Games. Paralympics should be front and center. And from that moment, I pledged that if I ever got into a position where I could help influence adaptive sport, I would do so. And that journey started 10 years ago. I joined the Paralympic Advisory Council for the US OPC. And so I did that for 3 years, talking about the different issues of how do we get adaptive sports to be main stage, front center, as it deserves to be. And just, I won't talk all the air because you want to hear from other people. But the point is, when I was named CEO of the World Cup Organizing Committee for Seattle, my first instinct, my first pillar was inclusion and accessibility. We sold FIFA on selecting Seattle with those two front and center. And we were rewarded by FIFA. We were selected, of course, but we were rewarded. We're one of two cities to have a Juneteenth match and a Pride match day. Don't ask me why Boston got the other one, because they didn't do anything to deserve it. But, and I know it's online, so I'm going to get roasted for that. But honestly, it was just an amazing privilege and experience. So around our accessibility pillar, we focused on growing the sport by promoting blind soccer. Blind soccer is a Paralympic sport. The U.S. men's national team, they don't have a women's team yet, but they will. But blind soccer will be a feature sport in the Paralympic Games in 2028. I knew that because of my Olympic work. So I hatched a plan 3 years ago on how do we figure out blind soccer. We have a special announcement to make at the end of this panel on that. And the other thing was we wanted to make it not just accessible to play, but we wanted to make it accessible to be there. And so my relationship with OneCourt started with that thought, and more on that. So basically, it's been accumulation. It's been so heartwarming to see it come to fruition. And we're only a few weeks away, and you're going to see more about that.
It's so exciting.
Oh,
thank you for
I'm thrilled.
sharing. Karen, I know that you have got a very personal passion about being in this space as well, so I'd love it if you would share a bit with us about that.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. My journey doing this work actually started here at Microsoft 21 years ago. So I don't have a sports background. I do now. I'm 5 seasons at the Seattle Seahawks doing this work, and I'm just so honored and thrilled to hold the position that I have doing diversity, equity, and inclusion work for the Seattle Seahawks. I have a son who is on the spectrum. He's neurodivergent. He is 21 now because he was a Microsoft baby. My daughter's here too. She's a Microsoft baby also. There she is. But it's very personal to me, making sure that spaces are available for him and for everyone. And so when I think about football and being in a space where everyone should enjoy the game, he should be able to enjoy the game, should he come to the stadium. And what does that look like? So we are very fortunate because our GM, John Schneider, and Tracy Schneider have a son also on the spectrum, and they started a sensory-friendly room before I started. And when I began, I did a little refresh on that room and partnered with Culture City to create Ben's room. We decided to name it after Ben, who is Tracy and John Schneider's son. And it is just a place where anyone can go if you're at a game. There's a lot going on at a game. Sometimes it's never too much for me, but never too much for me. But I want all fans to have a place and to be comfortable. So if you're watching a game and you feel like it's a little bit too much, to be able to step away, go into this space of calm, to just center yourself is really helpful. And so, I always have him in mind when I'm doing my work of inclusion and just thinking, how will he feel in this space? And so just making sure that, football is for everyone. And so making sure that we have an environment where all fans can have a great experience. So it is personal to me, but it's also just the right thing to do.
Agree completely.
I'm trying to do the math. 21 years at Microsoft.
I'm 27.
Yeah.
So you started at Microsoft when you were 10.
I was a baby as well.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were allowed to work at 10. But
True. Yeah.
Amazing.
Microsoft does wonders.
We learn things every day, every day.
Child prodigy.
Jared, I'm going to move to you. One Court's rethinking what it means to experience a game if you're blind or have low vision. So share with us a little bit about what that actually feels like if you are a fan and what it took to build that.
Yeah. Well, for those that don't know, One Court is a tactile broadcast. So it's a new format for watching sports. And we built this new tablet that allows fans to basically watch the game with their fingertips. And we're doing this in live venues already. I mean, two of the folks here on stage with me, Karen and Peter, both know that so well. I mean, we've done work with the Seahawks and a Club World Cup leading into this summer. And I think for fans, what it actually feels like is just a new and immersive way to engage with a game that maybe felt a little bit far away or inaccessible to them. Like some of the current experiences today, many fans are accustomed to listening to the game or waiting to hear what happened after the fact. So everyone around you's reacted and you're waiting to get caught up. And I think we all agree that's not accessible, it's not inclusive, and it's not in line with our vision that sports are for everyone. So I think One Court is supporting that mission and bringing fans to the real-time experience, both in the venues and soon to be at home. So it's something unique, and most people don't have a reference for it. Like when your phone vibrates, it's the entire thing. But when One Court vibrates, it's a pinpoint area, and you can imagine feeling your favorite player moving across the pitch, all in real time.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
And Jared is too modest because he's in the NBA. Not only is he in the NFL, he's in the NBA, the NHL, the MLB. We got him into the FIFA Club World Cup last year, and I had
Super Bowl.
From the Super Bowl.
Double 60.
You're going to take double dip
Sorry.
because NFL's.
I mean, Super Bowl.
I guess it's
legit.
by its own self.
Yeah, legit. And Jared shared with me, I'm going to pile on with you, Peter. Jared shared with me earlier, for all of you aspiring college students that are thinking about careers in this space, I think this was born as a junior at the UW, right?
Yeah, we started locally. I mean, just in our backyard here at the University of Washington. A group of students, a team that formed there who represent all the areas of this work, whether that's through lived experience or professional experience in the world of design, technology, hardware, software. I mean, it really takes a mountain to build something like this, and I'm just so grateful to all of our partners along the way, whether it's Microsoft, T-Mobile, Ticketmaster, the individuals, the community. Like it's taken everybody.
Agreed.
We had this thing last year with the Club World Cup where we were testing out the connectivity and the devices, and I had the privilege of sitting next to a group of people that had these devices, and their partners were there. They're crying because their partners were experiencing live sports, and they were just so, the smile on that face was priceless. It just warms the heart. But what was really interesting was this was not just a fan experience for the individual, it was the entire section. They were like, what is that? Wow, look, they were like so into the whole experience. We were front page news on that day, and now Jared's going to be, One Court's going to be in the actual World Cup. And for those that are not familiar, the global television audience of the World Cup, the unique viewers in 2022 was 5 billion viewers. It's 5/9 of the world, right? We're uniquely watching this. This is going to be the biggest thing for One Court, the exposure you're going to get for that, but it, more importantly, is the right thing to do. It's the focus we've had from day one, and he's been such a great partner. The whole organization has been terrific, and Microsoft did actually, you guys won the competition, right? The Microsoft competition?
Well, I'll tell this story if we have the time. Microsoft is so integral to our story as a company because, as students, we were beginning to make this transition to the real world. Can we do it? Can we make this a real company? And it was the same month that we graduated that we were awarded a grant from Microsoft's AI for Accessibility program. And I know some of those folks are here. So thank you to Jenny, Ioana, Aaron, Bryce, everyone who's been involved in that process. I mean, that allowed us to go out, spend the time, pay ourselves rent and ramen, and make this impact.
Rent and ramen, on point, on point. That the exclamation point that you put on the fan experience and how broad that will be is so exciting, and I can't wait. When I think about fan experience, I am hard-pressed to think about any fans that are more passionate or just bigger, bolder in their fandom than Seattle Seahawks fans. I had the privilege one year of flying on the way to a Seattle Super Bowl from Seattle to New York with a whole plane full of Seahawks fans. Amazing, like my favorite airplane ride of all time. So, Karen, maybe I can ask you, what does that feel like for a fan on game day when you're actually, what is the fan experience when you're actually at Lumen Field? Talk to me about what that looks like.
It's insane. And in a good way, insane. But it really is. There's no one like there's no fan better than our 12s. Our 12s they are definitely what makes us great. I mean, their energy, the players will say it, you've heard them say it over and over again, how you being out there while they're playing that game is really what gets them going. And so making sure that everyone feels that is important to me. And so when I started working with One Court, I feel like a couple of years ago, I was like, this has to happen. Like, we need to figure this out. And I remember saying, I need you to do this here. Like, you're local and I need to support you. Like, I'm your team. Like, let's do this. And so I was so excited when we worked with the league to figure out a way to do some testing, because testing for soccer or for the NBA, very different. The arena is different. The sizing is different. We are 70,000 people deep, and the stadium is huge. So doing the testing and getting it right was very, very important to get to the place where we were at the Super Bowl to be able to provide it there as well. But just going through that experience was incredible. But what I will say, I know that we're out of our time, but I invited Jenny to come to our deaf awareness game. We have game themes. A lot of people don't realize that. When you watch the game, I want you to pay very close attention to the inclusion on the field when you watch a game, whether it's on television or if you're in our stadium. Take a look around. There's a lot of inclusion. There's a lot of accessibility. And when Jenny came, I invited her and I gave her a full experience, tour, whole thing. At the end of it, she sent a message and she put it on LinkedIn, who I know is watching right now. LinkedIn, a beautiful post that I saw afterwards saying the experience was world class for accessibility. And I had a tear because having Jenny say that meant we were doing something right in our venue. And we truly are a place where football is for everyone. And just, you can see that sports connects people in every way, everybody. Everyone enjoys it, and it's where we all can unite and come together. And so hearing someone like Jenny, who went and had that experience, walk away feeling such pride and knowing that we are doing it right, I was ecstatic. And then being able to work with Jared and the team with One Court was just one of the highlights of my season. And he knows this. It was a highlight for me to be able to provide that experience, that fan experience, and myself to personally experience it and to see the people around everyone using it. It's like, what is that? Can I do it? Can I use it? And I'm like, I'm so sorry, we only have 5. But we're testing, but it was just great. And to be part of it and to be an advocate, I'm like now One Court's chief advocate officer next to Peter, I guess.
You have amazing brand ambassadors.
So anyway, thank you for letting me share
We need
that.
One Court scarves.
Exactly. We're gonna add to our swag.
Yes.
I'm gonna close, and I know. Thank you for indulging us with a few extra minutes, everyone. I'm gonna close with one question because I think it's an important question. We're in a room and in an online community of 20,000 people who care deeply about creating an inclusive world. So if I were to ask each one of you, what is one thing that we could do tomorrow that would contribute to that goal of inclusivity in our world, what would you say? Peter.
I would say one word: respect. You need to respect people for who they are. And I love that this conference is called the Ability Conference. You know, I was in, as I said, the Paralympic Advisory Council, and there's always a debate, should it be called disability, or, you know, there's always, how is it described? I love that this is the Ability Conference because it shows respect. And I think that you need to respect people for people. And it starts in the core of your heart. And if you can accept and be open, you can do so much. The world will be such a better place.
Yeah, I think for me, it's really putting yourself in other people's shoes all the time in everything that you do. Whether it doesn't matter what the industry, what the space is, just imagine, you know, what if? You know, and I think that sometimes we even started the conversation about having your personal connection. We all have lived experience, our personal connection to this work, whether it's what we do for a living like myself. It started out, I think someone said being human and the human connection. And I mean, it's just, think about what someone else's experience is. Like, wow, could someone do this if they were in a wheelchair? Could someone enjoy this if they couldn't see the game? How can I make that happen for them? You know, always put yourself in someone else's shoes and have compassion. And you never know what someone else is going through and what someone else's story is. So respect is key, but also compassion for someone's situation.
Mm-hmm. Jared.
I think I really lean on the word expectation. I think it's something that is so powerful in sports and in technology. I think we're entering a new world where we are expecting inclusion and accessibility from day one. It's not a nice to have. It's something that you can go to a venue and you know that One Court's going to be there, or you know that there's a sensory room or other accommodations that are available to support fans. It's just something I'm so thrilled that we've come together as a community to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. That is a beautiful closing note. Thank you.
I have a special announcement.
Thank you. Yes. Last but most certainly not least, we have a special announcement from Peter. Peter, please.
They can cue it up. Want to talk about the real football?
He gave me a scarf, so I'm not debating you.
Yeah. You gotta indulge me because we're only
indulging you.
Yeah.
26 days.
Yeah, then you can have it back after 26 days. This weekend, we are hosting a blind soccer international tournament. The U.S. men's national team which have selected Seattle as the Pacific Northwest hub as the build-up into the LA Paralympic Games, will be playing Kazakhstan and Peru. And these are not friendly matches. These are matches that actually count. Kazakhstan and Peru are trying to qualify for the Paralympic Games in LA 2028. US is already in. They're going to be gauging where they are at against global competition. This is a free event. This is at Interbay Stadium in Ballard. If you're around this weekend, please come. It's so inspiring to watch and witness and experience blind people playing soccer. Imagine, we held a blind soccer clinic in December at Magnuson Park where sighted people and unsighted people played soccer together. It was just so inspiring to see that happen and how it works. And then we're going to donate the field to Galt Field, which is in Tacoma, which will be a permanent location for blind soccer. But please come out.
Amazing. Amazing. I want to say thank you to everyone in the room today, and I want to say thank you to everyone that's joined us online. Remember that we move forward when we all move together. Enjoy the summit. Have an amazing Ability Summit. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm not going to wade into which is the real football conversation because I too am wearing the swag. So I am going to be smart and keep that to myself. But I am a proud 12. So I'm definitely a proud 12. That was fantastic and insightful and enlightening about everything that is happening in that world. You know, sports does have that ability to bring people together, and the more that we work on this inclusion, the more people can get some of the enjoyment that I get out of all of these different types of activities. Now we're going to move on. And, you know, I have the privilege because of my day job here at Microsoft of getting to know a lot of the things that are happening next. But sometimes there's this secret squirrel stuff that nobody says anything about. And so I'm excited to have James Hunter, who is the general manager of accessories at Xbox. He is going to be joining us next, and I have no idea what he is going to talk about, but I know it is going to be fantastic, and it's going to include how Xbox accessories are designed with accessibility options in mind from the very start. He's going to share with us an exciting update. You're going to hear some of this information first here. And Xbox's ongoing commitment to accessibility and the progress that they've made on this journey is so wonderful. So both online and in the room, let's give a warm welcome to James. James, come on out.
Thank you so much. Okay, billions of people around the world play video games, and nearly 450 million of those have some form of disability. When we talk about accessibility at Microsoft and Xbox's mission to make gaming more approachable for everyone, we often say it's a journey. That journey is guided really by something simple. It's listening. We heard a lot about that today. Listening to players, listening to the disability community, and turning that feedback into meaningful change. That mindset drives the Xbox Adaptive Thumbstick Topper program. We first introduced this program in 2024 to give players more flexibility in how they interact with their controllers. And with Xbox Design Lab, players can design, customize, and download 3D printable thumbstick toppers that support a range of grip styles, mobility needs, and play preferences. Let's take a look at how it all works.
The Xbox Adaptive Thumbstick Topper program is a free service that allows players to customize 3D printable adaptive toppers. For players with limited mobility, these toppers provide alternatives to the standard Xbox thumbsticks. Customize yours with Xbox Design Lab under Shop, then Xbox Adaptive Toppers. Choose from compatible controllers, including the Xbox Adaptive Joystick, Xbox Wireless, and Xbox Elite Series 2 controllers. Choose from a variety of different shapes, each designed to assist in different ways. Adjust the height and width to your preferences using the sliders in the configurator. Download your file and print at home or use a 3D printing service. attach the 3D printed topper to your Xbox controller, and start playing.
Since the launch of the Xbox Adaptive Thumbstick Topper program, we've continued to listen and learn from the community. Today, we're introducing 2 key new updates, which you may have just noticed in the video, based on what we've heard from players. First, a redesigned attachment. Players told us they needed something more secure during gameplay. This updated design improves durability and keeps toppers firmly in place, even during higher force use. And secondly, a new adaptive topper shape. We know that accessibility is not a one-size-fits-all, and our players have asked for more options. So we're introducing a new highly requested shape, the goalpost. This design features a wide, flat surface that can be used with a palm, along with raised sides to help guide and stabilize movement. What you're seeing here really reflects ongoing collaboration with the community, feedback that continues to help us move closer to meeting the needs of more players. And starting on May 21st, in recognition of Global Accessibility Awareness Day, players will be able to access these updates through Xbox Design Lab, customize the new goalpost shape, and download the updated attachment design. These updates are one step in a much broader journey. We know there's always more to learn and more to do, and we're so grateful to the disability gaming community for continuing to share their experiences and feedback, and to Team Xbox as a whole for helping us turn that input into action. We're committed to keep listening, learning, and building together, because we know when everyone plays, we all win. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you so much. Well, this brings an end to the first part of our summit. We're so happy that you got to be here with us in person, and we're grateful to those of you who joined us online. I'm reminded that humanity and compassion, respect and empathy, these are important things that we can bring to the work that we do every day. And for me, at least, that's what actually brings my work meaning, is being able to do those things together with all of you and drive these kinds of inclusive outcomes that bring everybody along in what's coming next. There's going to be another session right here in McKinley. So if you'd like to come to that session, why just stay here. The hub and spoke model for compliance at scale. I love compliance and governance. I'm a nerd like that. Designing for AI for disability representation will be in Hood, and the HLC tech session will be in our sponsor room in Baker. Make sure that you grab some water, and as you make your way to your next session, what happens at these events, the community happens in between the sessions, at the water station, when you're grabbing coffee. Drive conversation. Make an effort to leave here with one new contact so that you can stay connected after the event. And please visit our sponsors and the product showcase that you'll find out in the hall. My name is Caruana Gatimo. I'm the Director of Collaboration and AI Customer Advocacy. I'm so happy that you allowed me to come along on this journey with you. Thank you to everyone here. Thank you to those of you online, and we'll see you again very soon. Have a great day. Thank you very much.